Good evening and welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Parker-Hagan. I have my co-host.
And good evening, Dr. J.R. Thicklin. And what a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday it is, although we've had some rain. But I'm excited because of possibilities.
I was wondering where you were when you said what a beautiful day, because it's been storming all day here in Fort Lauderdale.
It's all in the mind. Yeah, it was storming early on with us as well on this end. But I tell you, there's been something so optimistic about today. There's been something that's been so hopeful. I mean, I just sense it in the atmosphere, and I could hardly wait for our show tonight because the fact I believe that we'll have a guest who is like I'm going to call her the queen of optimism and the queen of persistence, and I just been excited about it all day long.
Well, I'm excited to meet her. Why don't you introduce her?
Well, I tell you, our guest tonight is Miss Ann Marie Sorrell. Now, this young lady is an award-winning business leader, accomplished multimedia global influencer. She's a public speaker and an author 2 times over. And the thing I love about her, she is unapologetic about her support of the many causes that she believes in, impacting women and minorities, economic development in her environment. She is unapologetically proud of her Caribbean background. She is the president and the CEO of the Mosaic Group, an award-winning advertising, marketing, and government relation firm serving clients all the way from the U.S. to the Caribbean. And she has managed projects, and you'll never, in campaigns ranging from 10,000 to literally $3 billion. And is no stranger to South Florida or globally. One of the things that she is doing now, and she'll talk about, she is the president and founder of Cannabisiac, a global member-based company in helping people in existing business tap into this. Watch this, the over $38 billion industry by providing education, training, access to this whole international thing that we're calling cannabis. Listen, other than that, I'll tell you something. She's a co-author, and she's authored one book that I'm very proud of, meaning proud of because I would like to read it. I haven't read it yet, but one of her books that she did was the author of Chronicles of a Serial Dater.
What? Okay, we have to get this queen on.
Yes, and it's so funny seeing that contrast between that and yet it's still this woman who's written this book she co-authored, No Glory Without a Story, Stepping Out on Faith and Birthing the Business Within You. And that is a collective work. And I love that because Ann has been about that. And so I'm glad to welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul, none other than Ann Marie Sorrell.
Good evening, Queen.
Unmute.
Good evening, King and Queen. Queen and King.
I'm excited. I'm excited about the show. The thing is, we're all entrepreneurs, business individuals, and we're on skates all the time. So no one has an idea of all the things we have to do running to get to this place, 8 o'clock on Tuesdays, every Tuesday evening.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, you're absolutely right. I just finished teaching our first Canna class incubator program that we have, just first teaching them about entrepreneurship.
Okay,
Wow.
awesome. Now, everyone talks about cannabis, and there's different types of cannabis. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, Cannabisiac, as Dr. Thicklin explained, we provide education and training for anyone that's interested in either tapping into as an entrepreneur or growing an existing business within the cannabis industry, but just really don't know how. There's a lot of regulation. And so when we talk about cannabis, we're talking about hemp. Which is legal in pretty much all states due to the 2018 Farm Bill. But we're also talking about medical cannabis, which is legal in the state of Florida. And then we're also educating folks about adult use, or known as recreational, but we try to use the term adult use cannabis, which is not legal in Florida, but legal in a few other states, such as California, Colorado, and other places.
Okay. Now our show is called Making Power Moves, even in the pandemic. A lot of people are like stuck because they don't know how to shift to get to the next level of greatness. And that's because they don't know how to get started. But your company, the Mosaic Group, is a marketing advertising company. So can you elaborate on the different facets of what you do in that capacity so that individuals can probably reach out to you to see how they can get their footing?
Absolutely. So I don't know if it's my echo. Um, so absolutely, the Mosaic Group, we provide from traditional to digital to grassroots marketing and advertising. So if there's a company or a person out there that's starting a business and trying to pivot, then we help them with whether it's naming and branding the business, from the logo design to what message do you want your business to have? How do you want people to see your business? How do you want it to show up, both graphically, but as well as what does it stand for from a messaging standpoint, to website development, brochures, stationery. But then we take it a step further. How do you show up on social media? Is social media needed for you, and what are the necessary platforms for your business? Do you need to do any type of advertising, which is a completely different program? That's your paid advertising plan, which could be digital, in a digital space through Google or through various social media platforms. Or you may want to advertise on radio or television or print, depending on your budget. We also help with helping companies get involved in the community, because some businesses are all about relationship building. So are you tapped into the right organizations? Are you tapped into the right professional associations to grow your business? Are you doing government contracting? Do you offer something that a government agency will buy? Are you tapped into those? Are you certified as a small woman, minority, or veteran-owned business? So we help kind of guide and navigate people through those different processes, because that's all about the marketing mix that we help them develop for their company.
Now, inside of all that, for someone who may not be experienced, it may seem overwhelming, but it is necessary to be successful, is what I'm hearing you say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you can build something, but if nobody knows about it, then what's the point? So marketing is absolutely necessary.
It's like the people who self-contained, they get their business cards and they just keep looking at it over and over again, but not recognizing it does them no good if it's not going out to people.
If it's not going out to anyone, and then nobody understands, it's not just, saying, oh, I'm going to get a business card and hand it out. People have to also understand your value and what value you add to them. So even, whether you're building a relationship and networking, or you're offering a product or service, it's all about the value. What value do you add to your customer? And what's going to make them buy from you versus somebody else? And how do you communicate that in your marketing and advertising strategies?
Wow. So I would say the Mosaic Group kind of puts you in a position to be able to go from point A to point B and finally getting there, right?
Absolutely. We're your I say that we're your visibility team. So we're here to help make you more visible to your target audience. But if you don't know who your target audience is, we can try to help you, narrow that down. And because some people come to us and say, oh, everybody's, my customer. Not really. You can't afford to be everybody's, nobody can afford to have. I don't want to say nobody. Amazon obviously can. But, most small businesses or organizations, they have to have a specific customer profile. If they don't know their customer profile, then we can help them establish that so they can better utilize their marketing resources, which a lot of times, unless you're a major corporation, you have very limited financial resources to market with. So that means that you have to maximize those resources you have by narrowing your customer profile, and making sure that you're targeting them where they are, with what they want, and you're solving their problems, and you're going to make them buy your product or service.
I started my company like 35 years ago, and I can tell you the transitioning that has happened because everything is so digital now. I came along when you had to have your press kit, your business card, and now you can do everything digitally. You don't have to ship packages anymore. You can just, with a click of a button, email a press kit to someone. So does your company do that as well?
Absolutely. So from the public relations standpoint, we work with different media outlets. And so everything from writing press releases to pitching stories for our clients, to try to get them coverage, whether it's in the local media market or the national media market. We tell customers, you have a story, but press doesn't happen every day. So, it's finding what's a unique story. What, is it a product you offer? Is it something that you're doing in the community? Is your product changing lives? Is your service changing lives? And how do we get that story out? A lot of times people, they get one good story in the press and now they think, oh, I'm going to be in the press every day. Not necessarily, unless you have a new story or new angle for us to capture and send to the media every day. But now there are other publications and other ways for you to be featured. So, for example, one of the things we do, instead of, like, to your point, Dr. Valerie, it's not just sending out a press kit anymore. Sometimes there are reporters out there that are looking for specific subject matter experts for you to contribute to something that they're writing, a story that they're writing. So you might just become a contributor. And so we help our clients also identify opportunities that they can contribute to. So the story may not be about their product or service, but they're an expert. If you've done a particular line of business, you are a subject matter expert in something. Dr. Thicklin does a lot of work in domestic violence. He is a subject matter expert when it comes to domestic violence. So he should be a contributor for any reporter or writer that's looking for someone to contribute to that story. So it's also about looking for unique opportunities that our clients can contribute to and get featured in, instead of it just always just being about them per se and their company or their product or service.
Now, in saying that, you bring about a very unique perspective, because the way you just broke it down, I think that, Solomon Dum Dum could understand that because of how you said it. Because what you pointed to was the fact of there's many different ways to do so, but you have to know your niche, so to speak. And sometimes you need help in taking that niche and doing. So it's not a matter of you just, well, I got knowledge. You know your vision, but do people know your vision? And do you know how to get that vision to the people? And all those things are so important. And one of the things I've noticed from watching you from afar, Ann Marie, I've seen you just, listen, you kind of soared. When I say soared, you just kept going on, and it's like there was this undenying focus that you had, and you kept going on. And I can even tell from afar that you were getting in front of things. You, somewhere along the line, you was in front of it, in front of the subject matter, in front of what's happening out there, and you just got to explain it perfectly, because in order to make those changes, you have to be able to see what is the trajectory, what's going on, how will this fit you. And what most people might not know, although they're small companies, they don't necessarily have a big budget, but you have to use what you have effectively. You have to use whatever budget that you have effectively. I had a little stint doing marketing account executive many years ago, and worked for one of the cable companies and account executive. And one of the things I discovered was the fact, man, when I went out to get business and things, those individuals would tell me their story, but they knew exactly who their audience were. They knew. And my job was to say, okay, the best channels or the best network to be on is A, B, C, or whatever it may be, and the right timing. And it blew my mind, the money they spent, but their return was incredible because they had the perfect niche. They was in the perfect audience. To the point they could almost tell me, we're marketing 35 and 45-year-old men wearing polka dot shirts or whatever. They were just as specific, but it showed me the back end of what I consider the marketing part there, because sometimes having a great product is only part of it. The other part is really getting it out there.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. For me to talk about the first part of your comment, I try to stay ahead. I'm nosy, so I'm just saying I'm nosy.
You're unapologetically nosy, right?
Yeah, I like to know what's happening. I look at different industries, and I've never been a person who likes to just be focused on one thing. So I think that's the other part, is that different industries, different challenges. Um, I'm excited about that. So I also follow politics, as you know. I'm very politically engaged, and so when you look at things from a political perspective, when you're involved in your community on the
Yes.
ground level, and you see exactly what is happening in communities, whether it's housing, education, healthcare, you start to look at trends. And so that's how I kind of stay ahead of things. I look at trends, I look at what's happening politically, I look at what's happening within our communities, and then I say, okay, I don't want to just publicize this, but where are the economic opportunities, whether it's for me or for my people, or for, you know, just our community in general. And so even with cannabis, for example, I started following the cannabis trend once we had medical marijuana on the ballot back in 2016. So I wanted to understand what was so big about this industry, why was it illegal to begin with? So I started doing my research. And once it was legal and I started showing up at events, I realized that there weren't many women, and there definitely weren't many people of color at all. Like one or two of us in a room of 100 or 200 people, which to me speaks volumes. So, and I remember the tech industry was kind of similar to that, where when the tech boom happened, we weren't at the table. And so my mission, particularly with Cannabiziac, is to make sure we're at the table and we don't get left behind in this booming industry, especially when our community has paid the biggest price based on the war on drugs. So I want people to wake up and research this industry and figure out how they can be a part of it and be at the table and create generational wealth from this great equalizer. So that's just one way that I've watched trends and have found a way to be ahead of it or be a part of it, to create impact.
Yeah, one of the things you talked about is being community involved. And I think that's where a lot of individuals like kind of not get the fact that in order to be successful, you have to be connected to a community. And it should start with your immediate community and then spread abroad, because people buy from who they know, they like, and their trust. So therefore, if you're trying to start a business and trying to make this power move here in this new global economy, you have to know who's around you, your surrounding area, and what the needs are, and supply for the demand.
I agree.
You know, Ann Marie, you said something a few minutes ago that I think is so important, and you definitely follow trends and you follow history. And so we've seen many times, especially minorities, people of color, we have always been on the other end of it. We wasn't at the table when decisions was made. And so we always end up being consumers. We never have really been at the table enough to make decisions, to be owners and direct things. And so you're in a very unique position inside of this. And by the way, I want to congratulate you even ahead of time, being nominated now for, once again, even in this industry, you seem to dominate wherever you go. Even in this industry, for what you're doing as a woman business owner inside of this whole thing with cannabis. And one of the things you talked about was the fact that we have to see not only the value of the work, but getting on board now, especially considering how much this has impacted our community. The war on drugs, all those things there. We know families have been separated and devastated because of this. And it's interesting, and I call it very clearly when you talk about the fact of why was it illegal in the first place? And now all of a sudden, it's becoming legal. So
I don't understand what's happening with my stock, but go ahead.
but it's interesting now that all of a sudden, it's come along, because that which was so outlawed and that did not want to happen, all of a sudden now is legal. Perhaps those that held power before understood the fact that there's more to be made if we legalize it, but both scale it in a way that you're really going to have to do your homework to be able to take advantage. And that sounds like that's what you have done. I'm going to say for all of us, you've done that. And now you have framed it and packaged it in a way of education and empowerment. And I know that you've explained it to other circles and platforms I've been on, but I really want you to be able to explain the opportunity now. And if there's ways that people can reach you to get involved with this education, because listen, let me be the first to publicly say, and I don't care what y'all say about me, I am going to take her class. Yes, I am. I'm going to become educated inside of it because of this here, because there is a means to an end. And not only that, empowerment is so important inside of these things here. And so tell us a little bit more about how we can get involved in your class, what your classes consist of, because I mean, we keep saying knowledge is power, and that's true, but applied knowledge is power. And so I'm going to admit most of us have very little knowledge of this at all, and so, tell us a little bit about cannabis.
So there's two opportunities here. One, we have partnered with Florida A&M University for their FAMU medical marijuana research and development program. And so FAMU has been tasked with, and we're assisting them with that, educating Florida's consumers, particularly Florida's diverse consumers, on Florida's medical marijuana. What is medical marijuana? What are the legal uses, and what are the illicit or non-legal? And then what are the qualifying conditions? How do you find a qualifying physician? How do you get a recommendation for a medical marijuana card? Because there are people out there who have many, many ailments that they could benefit from medical marijuana. And I'm no doctor, so I can't, make any claims, but there are people who say, they may be a cancer patient who it has helped them with the pain and nausea or sleep issues that they have, or someone may have anxiety and it helps calm them down, or children that may have epilepsy, or people that have epilepsy and it helps them with that. So there's so many uses when it comes to medical marijuana. And I want to say cannabis in general has been given this ugly perception that it's a drug and it's bad for you. And yes, there are people who have, used it for bad because they put other things in it, which then turns it into something else. But the cannabis plant has been around for centuries. Is an ancient plant that originated in Asia.
Wow.
So over 6,000 years ago in Asia. Wow. It has been used for medicinal purposes for ages. So, but in recent years, recent history, it has been just, put as this bad thing, right? So, so to educate people, we have the partnership with FAMU. We are looking for community educators. So I am looking for community educators that will come and be trained, become a certified educator, and it's paid, you're paid. And then you will go out and educate other members in your community. So you could be a teacher, you could be a pastor, you could be just a regular community member or retiree, and you want to go and educate, you want to get educated first on Florida's medical marijuana, and then you can go out and educate our community because this plant can help them, right? So we want to educate people on that. So that is the consumer side of Florida's medical marijuana in one program that we have. For Cannabisiac as a whole, our purpose is to not just educate consumers, but to educate those who have an entrepreneurial spirit or those who are business owners and say, hey, I do real estate. How do I do real estate in cannabis? I do accounting. How do I provide accounting services to cannabis companies? Because there are different regulations when it comes to the accounting. I do marketing. How do I do marketing in the cannabis industry? It's a little different because it's regulated. Or I am actually a farmer and I want to grow hemp, and I can legally grow hemp in the state of Florida, but I don't know how to get my license. Or I have the money and I can open a dispensary. How do I get a license to open a dispensary, whether in the state of Florida or somewhere else? So we provide education from the fundamentals of entrepreneurship all the way to everything about cannabis and the plant, to regulations, to what's happening globally. We have partners in Canada and the Caribbean, but we also look at the other markets in Asia and other places as well. And we also have partnerships with other educational institutions that have been doing this for a while as well. So we have a business incubator program. So there are three ways that you can get educated through Cannabiziac. A, you can attend our monthly events. So we have our 2 networking events, and then we have our Cannabiziac University, which is a webinar series we host every month. And then we also do a book of the month where we feature a author who's written a book related to whatever topic in cannabis. As a matter of fact, we have Dr. O, who is talking about the pharmacy, the cannabis pharmacy, or pharmacy cannabis. I'm messing up the title right now, but she's our speaker next Wednesday. And she actually is based in Jacksonville, Florida. Amazing woman. She has created products, but she's a licensed pharmacist. She breaks down the plant so the regular person can understand. So we have her. So we have those events every month. We have 4 events a month. Then we have our on-demand courses. So you can go on our website, click and learn about, click which program you want to learn about and take that at your own pace. And then lastly, we have our incubator program, which this is a live instructor. So myself and several other instructors from around the country. Keisha, she in other countries, she's in Canada. She's instructing from Canada. And so we have 2 levels, our fundamentals of entrepreneurship in cannabis level. And then we have our deep dive, which is all about cannabis. And then next year we'll be launching level 3, which is where you have your specialization and you'll have a coach and mentor to coach you and guide you along the way. So that particular program, we have it twice a year in September and then again in March, and they repeat. And if you're up to it, you can take both of them or all of them at the same time if you have enough time. We try to make it very affordable. Our programs start at $1,000 per program for the 6-month period, which we have payment installments. And what we also did this for our first cohort, we have a scholarship. So any person who has either been convicted and released of a cannabis, they can apply for a scholarship through our program. Because this is a way to say, hey, you paid the price, you did the time. So now that you're back into our community, we want to train you so you can do it legally and benefit the same way everybody else is benefiting on the time that you've paid and spent. So we're offering scholarships to those individuals who have been impacted by the war on drugs.
Wow. Now that is amazing, because that gives a whole new meaning to giving back to community. And let me just say it, how many times we've heard people talk about people, whether, whatever crime or whatever, we said if they only took those skills and applied it towards something legal, they would be dangerous. You guys have provided that opportunity. So if you can get beyond being ashamed that you once was, and here's an opportunity that you can do very good in, because if I'm not mistaken, I read it's a $38 billion industry.
Oh, it's grown since that number. So
I was about to say,
yes. It's about close to $50 billion global industry. By 2026, it's expected to be about a $91 billion global industry, and that's the legal industry.
That's the legal industry, right? Well, this is amazing, and I say this because of the fact, 3 things. Number one, you guys are in partnership with FAMU, and I go Rattlers. I always go there. I always tell people that I didn't go there like you did, but my daughter went there, so my money went there. I was smart enough to do that, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. but the fact that you're in partnership with FAMU, and the fact that FAMU is in partnership, because once again, I often talk about the fact of, especially people of color and minority, we're on the back end of the train. So oftentimes, by the time we get on, all the goods, the good part is gone. But this is an opportunity now where you're talking about education, you're talking about training and understanding this thing for what it is. And one of the things that you said that is so important, and I want to say this from the perspective of even faith and religion. You talk about the fact that cannabis in and of itself oftentimes gets this terrible name and all these things such as that. But you so eloquently talked about, here's a plant, a natural plant that's 6,000 years old and have served to heal and to do so many great things. And so many things that we talk about was natural. They was, they grew in the earth, came from the earth, and was meant to do good. But like anything, you add the wrong stuff that it can contaminate. And I think the message is that you don't want to discredit the real purpose and really the holistic purposes that's found in cannabis because of the fact of the negative things that you may hear that's added on to it. And so I applaud you inside of that. And I'm excited. I'm sitting here saying, okay, she said community education. She said all those people who are eligible. So, we just want to know how to sign up. We just want to know how to get engaged. And I want people to know on a serious note, because this is an opportunity. And I believe that here's an opportunity. And, the Tonight Show was talking about overcoming, making power moves in these challenging times. This is an opportunity to make power moves. You're making power moves even inside of the fact of giving the education, especially the entrepreneurial side of this. The entrepreneurial side, here's an opportunity to learn the legal way of doing this and really tap into things that are there. And we all know that in this time of pandemic, you talk about anxiety on an uproar, everything that can happen, but we don't have to run away in fright. There's a way to overcome. So as much as there's been adversity, there's opportunity in this time as well. And I think this is a great, very great avenue inside of providing opportunity.
Absolutely. So, you can learn more at cannabiziac.com, and that's CANNABIZ. So Cannabiz, IAC, .com. And you can email me at Ann Marie at cannabiziac.com. And that's to both become a medical marijuana community educator, which we're looking for paid educators. Those we're going to pay you to do those sessions. If you're interested in that opportunity. And then we also have the Cannabiziac education side where you can, join us to learn about the industry. Get those negative perceptions out of your head that we've been taught. Cannabis is a flower that comes from the earth. Yes, it does have some psychedelic effects on you, but cannabis ain't never killed nobody. Okay, but if you understand, and that's why the consumer education is so important, because it's really understanding dosing. If people understand dosing, or if they understand the difference between, a hemp-derived product such as CBD versus a product that has THC in it, which is where you have the psychological effects from the THC, then you can better understand how your body now. And the other thing that people don't understand is that our body has a natural endocannabinoid system. It's already in our body, which is why the plant interacts with us so well. But you just have to understand dosing effects and how different dosings, how different strains, how different forms of cannabis impact your body.
Right. It's not for everybody, and it's not for everything.
Exactly. So you have to understand, and that's why we have professionals like Dr. O in her book, where we're here to educate consumers. And that's why we have FAMU's medical marijuana program, where they're here to educate consumers. So that if you do have some needs and you need to get your card, you get it properly from the proper source. You know what qualifying conditions qualify, and you know what qualifying physicians to go to for your recommendation to go to the dispensary, which is the proper place. You ain't going to somebody's house or nothing. You're going to an actual retail location to get your cannabis. So there's a whole education piece in that. And that's what makes it safe, because they have to go through stringent regulation to ensure that what they're having a dispensary is safe for consumers. So there's definitely a lot of education to be had around the
I like the
plant.
fact that you're doing a lot of education around it, because there's so much mental illness here, and we don't want to give the message to individuals thinking that, oh, I could just get some cannabis and check out, so we don't want to give that perception of this is what this is and this is what this is good for. So the education of it is extremely important.
Extremely. And that's why we're recruiting others to help us in that effort.
Yeah, I'm excited about it now, and I'm going to say to those that are watching the show tonight, whatever platform you're on, if you have the ability to share with people,
We need
share
for you to be in the screen. I can't see half your face.
me.
Yeah, you.
Okay, all right. No, I didn't have any cannabis before I came on or anything like that.
I'm like, what is going on here?
But hey, I think I've been enjoying the conversation, so that may have been my.
I'm like, what the cannabis is going on here?
Yeah, what's going on here, right? Okay, but and this sounds so crazy, but I think I'm excited because I have seen major developments pass us by. Major thing passes by. By the time we've gotten on the train, we're on the caboose. And I don't think we are on the caboose in this case here. And so we're grateful for persons such as yourself who's stepping out front and saying, listen here, I see not only the good in here, but I see the economic advantages in here, because someone is going to benefit. People are going to benefit. People are going to do so. And so this is an opportunity not only to learn, but when we start talking about making power moves, the world is changing. Industries are changing. The things that move us today are not the things that moved us 35, 45, 50 years ago. And so we're going to have to be on top of it. And not only that, we are talking about going forward in the midst of this pandemic that we're in and not knowing how long we're going to be in it, inside of it. And I'm saying this is not the time for people to fret and, give up hope and those things there. Adversity introduces a man or woman to themselves. And how we answer that will determine our outcome. And I think for many, they might find that this is a tremendous opportunity in the entrepreneurship of it, the community education of it. And then for those that love doing education, you talk about community educators. I think this is an awesome opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, I just want to add to something, because I think, too, when people often think about the cannabis industry, they're only thinking from the smokable or ingestible side of cannabis.
Right.
When we look at hemp not only creates, oils that can, be used for pain and, the whole CBD movement. Mm-hmm. Hemp also creates a fiber. So when you talk about replacing plastic, there are literally entities that are creating products from hemp using 3D printing. Wow. There's a man who built an entire plane in Germany using hemp. There is building materials for construction, for the construction industry, that uses hemp. Instead of concrete, there's hempcrete. There's a whole national U.S. building, hemp building coalition that you can join and become a member of if you're in the construction industry. So I want people to, and the technology, there's a company that uses drones right now to go and survey hemp farms and cannabis farms to help those farmers better understand how their crops are doing. There's someone who created a robotic device to help trim the cannabis flower, which is normally done by hand. And now they're selling that device globally in global markets. So I really want people to understand that there's transportation, there's security, there's technology. There's so many different opportunities other than just growing or having a dispensary or creating a CBD line. There are many opportunities. This industry is still on the ground floor. is still very young. There's so many ways that you can get involved, but people just have to open their mind and they have to see it for the business and the economic development opportunity that it is, while creating something that can help people on the medical and wellness side, as well as help our planet by creating sustainable uses and sustainable products through the fiber from cannabis. So I just wanted to point that out.
Great information. Great information.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I have to say this, I mean, you do so much. You've opened up so much opportunity for others. And, in the midst of all of this, you still have you have time to write books. And in the midst of all of this, I think you stop by every now and then and pick up the awards and recognition as you keep going. And one of the things that I'm very proud of you personally, because the fact you have been about empowerment, period. That's kind of like your middle name. It's about empowerment. The one thing I think that I have enjoyed in knowing you is the fact of you never just keep it for yourself. That you tend to want to empower others to know about it. So the empowerment initiatives that you have launched previously, the Black Girl Magic Global, the Black Business Loop, and the National Black Economic Conference, all those things are meant to lift us from where we are, to lift us from the limitation of our minds, I think I would say, in terms of that. And in doing so, we're able to go back and help others. What for you has been the most rewarding thing about these type of initiatives that you've launched and other things?
Oh man, what's been the most rewarding? Seeing other people be elevated. I think that you're right. I don't do this for myself, and people around me sometimes like, here you go, launching something else. But I know where I came from. I grew up in, as you know, small town of Pahokee, where there was not a lot of opportunities, and still is very limited opportunities. And so I just feel it's important that as I get information and knowledge, that I find a way to spread it and share it with somebody else. I think there's enough opportunity, there's enough money, there's enough all of that out there for everyone who wants to participate. But the challenge is people don't know how to participate. And so my biggest reward is when I can learn something, not just and utilize, not to just benefit myself, but I can bring it back to my community and have other people participate. I think what I've learned in doing through Mosaic Group, I've been fortunate to, and through my community volunteer work, I've been fortunate to be on the ground. So I see the disparities in our community. Oh, wow. And it all goes back to economics. It all goes back to economics. If our economics are not right, our community will not change. And that's why I created Black Business Loop, or, our National Black Economic Conference. And I don't care how people say, oh, yeah, you got everything going for Black. Yep, I do. So, because you can see what's happening now with Haitians in Texas. We as Black people are always the last to benefit from anything. And so as long as I have breath in my body and I have knowledge that I'm getting and I can share that with others, and you don't have to be Black to get this knowledge, but just understand that the folks who look like me is who my priority and focus is on. So that's the most rewarding thing, is that I'm able to, in some small way, change somebody's life, in some small way, uplift a part of our community. And that's what keeps me going. That's what wakes me up every day, whether it's me creating a new job, me giving some advice, or even tonight in our classes that we have 11 people from different parts of the country and one from Jamaica. And they're learning, so much. And they're like, oh my God, it's only been 2 weeks. And they're like, oh my God, I've just learned a ton. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. I had no clue. That, to me, that's impact, because these people are going to take that information and they're going to start and launch successful businesses or grow the businesses even more than they had the ones that have existing business. They're going to grow it beyond what they could think. That's rewarding to me because I contributed to their growth and development.
Absolutely. I personally don't know how you do it. I mean, when I say that, because you are involved in quite a bit. I mean, everything, some people, you can get their bio and you look over, you say, when, where, how. But that's not the case with you, because in fact, on one end, you're advocating on the rights and justice. On the other end, you're talking about making sure people have access to things. And then you found time enough to be elected by the people of Palm Beach County to be the conservation energy supervisor for our soil and water conservation district too. Where do you find the time and energy to do all this?
That's a good question. And, I'll be very transparent.
Purpose gives you the energy to do what you have to do.
It's purpose, it's spirit. And I have to thank you for people like you, Dr. Thicklin, who, whether I know you're praying for me or not, you're praying for me, you're sending me good energy and good vibes. It's not always easy. I mean, I think I make it look easy for some people, but there are times where I don't sleep. There are times where I am putting my health at risk to do the work that I do. And there are times where I'm tired. It's real, but like Dr. Valerie said, it is purpose. It's a purpose. It's a true purpose-driven life where it's like, okay, I got to get up and make this happen because if I don't make it happen for me, I don't have that support system to make it happen for me. And then I support others in my family, and then I support others in my community through, I hire people. So every day I get up and I say, well, I staff the ones who have children, they got to put food on their table, and even the ones who don't, they have expenses. So those are things that really keep me going. Is like, I got to be this person for other people, but I also got to be that person for me. So it's not easy. Thank you to the people of Palm Beach County for electing me. But when I see a void, and there was a void, we never had diverse representation on that particular board. And so I wanted to make sure that we have a voice in the environmental sector and that we understand what's happening with our farming. It's a $1 billion industry in Palm Beach County. The second largest industry in the state of Florida.
Wow.
Well, I am so glad that this platform was created, over 10 years ago to be a service to the community so we can know what's going on in different areas nationally. And I applaud the work that you're doing. And I want you to give your website information for the cannabis again, because this is also on Blog Talk, so they won't be able to see it. So I want you to speak on that. And I applaud the work you're doing. It takes a village. There's so much opportunity out there for individuals to make money. There's never a shortage of money, but it's always a shortage of ideas of how to get to that next level. How do I create? How do I begin? How do I start in the midst of adversities? And so many people are overwhelmed with life that they just need a hand up. And I thank you for being in that position to say, hey, you can do this. You don't have to be educated. You just have to know the proper information to be able to communicate it. And that is, a great weight off of a lot of people, because they feel if they don't look a certain way, if they don't act a certain way, or talk a certain way, they'll never be able to make it financially. But this is something that they can do regardless of where they came from. And we want to help them, empower them to get to where they need to go. And that is that place called there. That place called there is purpose.
Yes. Thank you for that. And the website is cannabiziac.com, and that's CANNABIZIAC.com, cannabiziac.com. And you're right on, Dr. Valerie. The industry of cannabis is open to anyone that's willing to work hard, that's willing to do their research, and willing to give back, because there's a lot of advocacy that needs to happen. You can't just come into this industry wanting to just make money. You got to also want to make a difference, whether it's in the lives of patients or the lives of those who have paid the price. You got to want to make a difference. So, you can learn more at cannabusiac.com. You can email me at Ann Marie, and that's ANNMARIE at cannabusiac.com. If you want to learn more about the work I do with the Mosaic Group, you can follow the Mosaic Group and go to the mosaicgroup.co. It's actually .co.
I was close.
Yeah, you were close. So it's the mosaicgroup.co.
I thought it was a misprint.
Yeah, exactly right.
So when I clicked it open, I was like, oh, it just dropped off.
Oh no, it is .co, or it's going to take you to a company out in Texas or something. But the Mosaic Group in Florida. But yeah, so I thank you. I appreciate this platform. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate what you're doing in the community to bring persons like myself here to provide the education and the knowledge so people know where to go and what to do, because there are so many opportunities out there, like you said. And I just want to give some encouragement, because like you said, with the pandemic, I launched Cannabusiac in the pandemic.
Wow, yes, you did. That's awesome.
So it is possible. I started planning for this in this company in the latter part of 2019, came up with a name, I think in December 2019. We did the branding early 2020, and we were supposed to have an in-person launch. And when the pandemic happened, I was like, we're going to figure it out and we're going to make it happen virtually. And we went ahead. Exactly. We went ahead and did it on 4/20, 2020. And we've just been taking baby steps. But the silver lining is that we have now been able to impact people from around the world, which we would not have been able to do had it not been a pandemic.
Wow.
So there is a silver lining out there for anyone that's looking to pivot or to start something or to come up out of whatever you may be going through in this pandemic. There is an opportunity and there is a silver lining. You just got to find it and move forward.
Yeah. And you got to participate in your own rescue. That's the bottom line. You have to want something better for yourself before you try and offer something better to somebody else. That is the bottom line.
This has been amazing, and people look at you, and I often say that those that don't know, you said it earlier, that sometimes you make it look easy, but there's a lot of sacrifice inside of what you do. People don't understand. Sometimes they grow disdain or envy when they see people moving forward and don't understand the sacrifice that is there. And you've done so. And that's why I thought the name of the book that you're one of the co-authors in was so very fitting. No glory without a story. Stepping out on faith and birthing the business within you. That is so telling inside of it. I watch you from afar, and and I see what you do all the time, and you always have. First of all, you're very proud of your background. You're very proud of your Caribbean roots, but there's a certain pride that you have in being saying, I started in a place that didn't have a whole lot of opportunities, but I refuse to leave it that way if I have anything to do with it by providing these opportunities. And one of the things that I think that I would like for people to take away from that is that you're human. You're 24 hours. I mean, you're going a whole lot. But the thing that drives you is the fact of you're seeing success. You're seeing things happen such as this. So I want to applaud you.
People.
I want to applaud you for what you do, for what you continue to do. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about, the numerous awards you've been recognized for. Believe me, they're very well deserved because of the fact you've put in the work and you just refuse to become stagnant. You continue to move, and that's encouraging to us all.
Well, thank you. I just want to give a shout out to the other 14 authors of No Glory Without a Story.
Yes.
They're amazing entrepreneurs. And also to Mia Merritt, Dr. Mia Merritt, who's the publisher and editor of the book. Is her vision to, and she hand selected all of us. But
she didn't call me.
You gotta reach out to her, right?
Volume 2.
Exactly, volume 2. But it's definitely a good read. I hope that anyone that's out there listening, we literally just released it this Saturday. So you can find it on Amazon.com, No War Without a Story. If you want an autographed copy from me, you can go to AnnMarieSorrell.com and purchase your autographed copy of this book, as well as my other book, Chronicles of a Serial Dater. You can purchase both of those on AnnMarieSorrell.com.
I know a lot of ladies want to know about that.
But I don't mind diving into that, you know.
A lot of ladies.
It might be a few gentlemen that might want to know a lot about that too. Because
if you're a business professional, you will have to go through different processes and different layers of yourself to bring the greater version of yourself. So
listen, Dr. Valerie,
communicate this.
Yes. So Chronicles of a Serial Dater. I tell people I'm not a serial dater on purpose. Just kind of worked out that way. But you know, it's the good, the bad, the funny, some steamy journey of dating and relationships. And I left a tip at the end of every short story for the fellas and for the ladies, because I felt that there's a lesson in every situation. And there are things that I did that I could have done better. And there's definitely things that other, parties did that they could have done better. So I leave a tip in there, and it's funny, it's emotional, it takes you through all types of different situations, relationships, no relationship, situationship, a phone call that didn't turn into nothing because of what was said. It just takes you through, and it starts with me literally in high school all the way through my early 30s. So most women and men can relate to this. If you want a good read, want something funny, you can read it in literally a night. It doesn't take long. From what I heard, most people, it's a page turner, so they don't want to put it down. And they're waiting for part 2. I just haven't had time to do part 2, so.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, I applaud you, and I thank you for joining the show tonight, because you're a wealth of information and you're hilarious too. So I know that, you have something for everyone, and I salute you and I honor you on your journey. And I know you have so much more to bring and so much more to deliver, even to me, at this dispensation of my life. I'm ever learning and being empowered by my sisters like you. So I thank you for your work and your contribution to mankind. As Horace Mann said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made a contribution to mankind. And I thank you for contributing to this empowerment session that we had tonight. And I'm sorry we're almost out of time, because I would like to know more about this serial dater thing. I've been so blessed to have such a phenomenal husband for the past 5 years. We've been together 7, but it took me 19 years in between my first marriage to do it again. And I'm very interested in the pages that you have created to see if there are things that I can identify with. And I know it can empower, because I'm telling you, information is power. When someone goes somewhere, and they can write about it, it will prevent you from going down that same road. So I applaud you in that. And I want you to give the websites again of how individuals can follow you and connect with you. And also, we can share this show. If it's been a blessing to those that are listening, please share it on all your social media platforms, because, as I said, information is power, and it is wealth.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dr. Valerie. Thank you, Dr. Thicklin. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share the many things that I have going on, but more importantly, how people can get involved, and hopefully the things that I'm doing can definitely impact and change someone's life out there. You can learn more about Cannabiziac and the work we're doing if you want to become a community educator, or you want to get into the industry. then, visit cannabusiac.com or email me at annmarie@cannabusiac.com. If you're interested in marketing, public relations, advertising, reach out to the Mosaic Group at themosaicgroup.co. That's .co. And if you want to just learn more about me and purchase the books that I have, you can visit annmariesorrell.com to purchase No Glory Without a Story or Chronicles of a Serial Dater, and you will get your autographed copy. And of course, you can explore the other products that's on the website as well.
Okay. Well, thank you once again, my friend. This has been great. Thank you for making the sacrifice. I know you were on roller skates when you came, but I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime, Dr. Thicklin, you call, I'm going to try to make it happen.
Likewise. Dr. Val.
I'm going to end the show with Les Brown's quote. In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do. In order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. That's Les Brown. Good night and God bless. It has been a pleasure.
God bless.
Good night.